Welcome back to another video. Yo, how's it going? Long time no see. I know, I'm pale as a ghost because I overestimated my foundation, or it's probably on point. I can't really tell because I'll be a pale bitch. But yeah, I thank you for checking in on me because I wasn't able to see you last week. I needed to take a break because shit just be getting out of hand sometimes in life, you know? Like all the time, but you know what I mean? Anyways, I'm trying out a new mic here. I hope it's to your guys' liking. If not, please let me know, and I would be more than happy to switch back, so please let me know. And I'm hoping you're enjoying the background. I really do not know how far you can see over here, but I'm gonna be honest, it's a motherfucking mess back here. When is it? When is it not though? When is it fucking not though? Like, let's be honest. Anyways, we're gonna do some good old motherfucking fashion Reddit. I've been trying to get more into the social medias, as they call it. Man, it's a fucking struggle, is it not? Because I can't stand social media, but I realize that if I want to do this YouTube thing, I really gotta be connected, because otherwise it's just not gonna fucking work. I was getting to understand the home of the Reddits. One of the communities I came across that I was following, or that I'm now following, is Reddit Cringe. And I honestly just wanted to go through the feed with you guys and just react to it, because I haven't clicked on anything because I want a live reaction with you guys, but just looking at the titles and the comments, like people roasting these people, rightfully so, on the occasion. It's just cracking me up. It's real content to me. So this one says, Dan Schneider cries on show trying to gaslight viewers over the hundreds of allegations against him and his friends. For those of you that do not know, I'm pretty sure Dan Schneider is the creepy McCreepster from Hollywood that made childhood stars and actresses that, actors and actresses that he worked with extremely uncomfortable. He was a P word. I might get, what is that word? This video might get shut down if I say it, but it rhymes with read a file. Boom, bitch. How you like that, motherfucker? But no, for real, it rhymes with read a file, if you catch my drift. It starts with the P and it ends with the E, okay? So that is what Dan Schneider is known to be, like known to do. So, yeah. Yikes. Just disgusting. I don't know, I could go on a whole ass rant, but I just am really tired of Hollywood letting people in that shouldn't be let in, or should not continue to remain there after certain things come to light. Let me just make sure I have my facts straight though. Dan Schneider. Dan Schneider. Yep, pretty much. He directed, or I don't know if he like produced, helped directed, what have you, but he was definitely hands-on with, pun not intended, iCarly, Sam & Cat, and then Zoe 101. There's more. Victorious, Drake and Josh. Oh, fuck, that makes sense. The Amanda Show, Good Burger, I Party with Victorious, so like iCarly and Victorious crossover. Henry Danger, Head of the Class, all that. Better Off Dead, Game Shakers, Kenan and Kel, Zoe 102, Good Burger 2, The Adventures of Kid Danger, I Go to Japan, iCarly Goes to Japan. Jesus fucking Christ, I did not realize how many mixtures and shit they fucking did. Bro, I'm so tired of this bitch ass camera cutting off on me. I was just going off and looking on my phone and didn't see the fact that it stopped recording. So anyways, I don't know where I left off, my bad. I was just pointing out the fact that in the 80s, Dan Schneider seemed to direct actually adult films, like adult movies. And he went from doing that to doing kid movies and shit, like directing TV shows and whatnot with kids in it. And just kept doing that all the way to the present time. So he's a fucking creep. So anyways, let's see what this clip's about. Let's see what this clip is about. So he's in an interview.
Hey, it's Boogie. I played T-Bo on Nickelodeon's iCarly. I got a chance to watch the Quiet on Set program, and I reached out to Dan to see if it was something that he'd be willing to discuss. I'm pleased to say that he said yes. Dan, how are you?
I'm okay. I really appreciate you reaching out and giving me the opportunity to talk to you about what we saw over the last 2 nights.
I'm really glad you're here because I believe this is important.
For sure.
We've got a lot of things to unpack. But before I dive into my list of topics that I'd like to discuss, is there anything you'd like to start off with?
Absolutely. Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult. Me facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. And I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology.
Let's talk about the massages.
Okay.
Watching the content yesterday, it was disturbing.
It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anybody in that position. It was the wrong thing to do. I'd never do it today. I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that I ever put in that situation. And even additionally, I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened, because there were lots of people there who witnessed it who also may have felt uncomfortable. So I owe them an apology as well.
Yeah. Dan, talk to me about the writer's room. From what I saw, not cool.
No. And I don't mean to cut you off, but if I can cut right to the chase, let me just say, no writer should ever feel uncomfortable in any writer's room, ever, period, the end, no excuses. Most TV writers, comedy writers have been in writers' rooms, and they are aware that a lot of times there are inappropriate jokes made and inappropriate topics come up. But the fact that I participated in that, especially when I was leading the room, it embarrasses me. I shouldn't have done it. And I can tell you why it hurts really bad for me. I remember very clearly my early experiences, my first experiences in the entertainment business. I was green, I was scared, I was excited. It meant the world to me that I was getting those opportunities. And I went in and I got lucky because they were great. My first couple of experiences were fantastic. And the fact that I didn't pay that forward to every employee that walked through my door, it hurts my heart, because I should have. And I wish I could go back and fix that. In the writer's room, there's no doubt that sometimes those jokes went beyond the pale, and I said things that went too far, or made practical jokes that went too far, and that was wrong. And that was because, you know, I was an inexperienced producer, I was immature. Wouldn't happen today, but I'm just really sorry it happened.
Yeah.
Okay, it's really fucking dumb for him to say, like, oh, it's because I was immature at the time, it wouldn't happen today. Like, yeah, sorry it happened. Like, he's definitely trying to put himself in a position where he can deflect. And it's always the basic cop-out is like, oh, well, I was young at the time, I didn't know better, da-da-da. This isn't just like you had some kind of, like, harmless scheme or harmless, like, get-rich-quick scheme gone wrong or south or whatever. You know, this is you and sexual allegations of redophile against minors and putting them in positions where that continue to happen, even with writing and directing and editing. It's just like, it's disgusting. And so the fact that he's like, oh, I was immature, tee-hee, like, bitch, are you fucking serious? Bitch, is you dumb? Like, hello? Like, that doesn't fucking fly here. I don't know who the fuck you think you are. You're just Dan Schneider. Chill the fuck out, dude.
Now, we know you've had a lot of success over 2 decades. Thousands of people have worked with you, for you. Okay. Let's speak directly to the people who did not have a good experience with you.
Oh, boy. And also, I don't know who this host is. Forgive me, I skipped over his name, but he said he had acted with Dan Schneider before. Whoever he is, he's a great host. I love that he had everything ready to fucking go. He was like, let's talk about the motherfuckers that you wronged. And I love that Dan Schneider takes this moment here to actually, like, he tries to basically be like, and I want to talk to those people. I want to set this shit right. He's like, let me speak with them. He's like, I need to make amends. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus that this moment in time has aligned us to meet so that I can tell them how fucking sorry I am, blah, blah. Like, he definitely chalks himself up to be, like, a good guy. And it's just manipulation. And I love that this guy's keeping him on his toes by bringing out these fucking curveballs. So let's see what he's got in store with the people lined up.
Okay, I would like to speak to those people because I hate that anybody worked for me and didn't have a good time. You know me. You've been on my sets. Look, I've had some employees that have worked for me for 10 years, some more than 20 years, who would work with me again. but not everybody. There's still a significant number that didn't have a great time working for me. So my batting average isn't nearly high enough in that area. And the way they wouldn't get the best of me is that I would let the pressure of doing 40 or even more episodes per year, I would let that pressure get to me, which a good boss should never, ever do.
Was there specific things that you were doing?
Sure. I would snap at people sometimes. I would be snarky when I could have given them a nicer answer. I would not give people the time that they needed. I would be in too big a hurry to get on to the next thing I had to do. And watching that show, it made me, there were so many times I wanted to pick up a phone and call some of those people and say, I'm so sorry and let's talk about it. And I wish you'd had a better time and I wish I could have shown you a better experience.
Yeah. You've written hundreds of episodes. Thousands of jokes have been told.
Yeah.
But currently where we are, some people think that some of those jokes are inappropriate for children. What do you think of that?
All these jokes that you're speaking of, that the show covered over the past 2 nights, every one of those jokes was written for a kid audience because kids thought they were funny and only funny, okay? Now we have some adults looking back at them 20 years later through their lens, and they're looking at them and they're saying, oh, you know, I don't think that's appropriate for a kid show. And I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels, let's cut those jokes out of the show. Just like I would have done 20 years ago or 25 years ago. I cut it. I want my shows to be popular. I want everyone to like. The more people who like the shows, the happier I am.
Yeah.
So if there's anything in a show that needs to be cut because it's upsetting somebody, let's cut it.
So I think it's big for you to say with your work, if it's viewed as that today, you don't have a problem.
Cut it. Cut it.
I mean, that's a solution.
The last thing I want to ever do is put any content in a show that's going to upset my audience and make them want to turn off the TV. Why would I ever want to do that?
That makes sense.
Basically, he's saying that at the time, the children thought it was funny because they didn't understand, and so the jokes were written for them, and now they're getting older, they're realizing they're inappropriate jokes, and it's not his fault or problem that they thought it was funny at the time and don't now. I think what it is actually, Dan, is that you preyed on the fact that they're children and they have no fucking idea what's going on. They don't understand shit. And now that they're old enough to understand, it's a problem. Because all this time you've been cracking out inappropriate fucking jokes for children on TV shows. And if it's not the children that are affected, it's the people at work. It's the actors and actresses. So he definitely a manipulator.
I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels, let's cut those jokes out of the show. Just like I would have done 20 years ago or 25 years ago. I cut it. I want my shows to be popular. I want everyone to like. The more people who like the shows, the happier I am.
Yeah.
So if there's anything in a show that needs to be cut because it's upsetting somebody, let's cut it.
So I think it's big for you to say with your work, if it's viewed as that today, you don't have a problem.
Cut it.
He's just saying that to save his ass. It probably bothered the fuck out of him if decades, mind you, decades of work was to be rid of. I guarantee you. I guarantee you it would piss him the fuck off because it's like 2 fucking decades down the drain.
The last thing I want to ever do is put any content in a show that's going to upset my audience and make them want to turn off the TV. Why would I ever want to do that?
That makes sense. I want to give you an opportunity to kind of elaborate on something.
Okay.
The thought process from the series is you had the power to just write a joke and no matter what, it's going on TV. You just had that type of power. Is that true?
The notion that I had the power to just produce whatever I wanted and have it air is completely false.
Okay.
There were many, many levels of scrutiny.
Does he think that makes him sound better to say that we had many levels of scrutiny? That means that your work was frowned upon, like people did not agree with the inappropriate jokes or connotations or what have you, and you still published it. So you just admitted right there that you had a lot of naysayers in your wisdom, but really you had people naysaying the inappropriate shit that they did not want to air to not ruin their image, and you still did. Okay.
Okay? We had executives in LA We had executives in New York.
So two coasts.
Two coasts
Okay.
of approval.
Coasts.
Yes. And by the way, approval at every stage, really.
Okay.
And I'm talking about wardrobe. I'm talking about makeup, sound, sets, dialogue, jokes, everything.
Now, when you say approval, these obviously that's a hierarchy, not your colleagues or people in the room. Okay.
No, not my colleagues. No, these are my bosses. Bosses, and then their bosses, and then their bosses. And they're approving all of this stuff.
Okay.
Okay?
So this is how he ties in a bit more of like, oh, I'm not the one to hold accountable, is by saying that basically as many departments as he can list. I think that was like maybe 5, right? Costume, makeup, lighting, like he's saying stage, everyone had a say in how things played out. And that's another way of deflecting, is to say, well, it wasn't just me that was responsible. It was costume department. It was prop department. It was makeup department. It was hair department. It was blah, blah department. It wasn't just up to me. Everyone else had a passing approval on everything. Really, buddy? Really? Those people are employed by you. Their jobs literally is to service your vision. So I'm calling bullshit on that.
And we're also shooting it in front of all sorts of adults and caregivers and the set teacher and the families. Everybody's watching it. And if anybody had said anything, hey, we don't like that, that's not appropriate, then it would have been cut out.
Boom. See, I fucking told you, it's right there. It's not just me, the parents, the caretaker, this person, and they thought it was fine and they thought it was okay. They didn't say anything. No one brought it to my attention that it was a problem. Fucking told you. Here you go.
The series painted you in this way that you were just the guy that was doing what he wanted, and people were afraid to confront you about things. So say, just humor me, say that that was the case. What would have been the ultimate way to...
Okay, if nobody on the set, if all of the dozens and dozens of adults that were on the set, if they didn't say anything, if my bosses said, if they insisted, you got to make a change here, you got to cut that, I had to do it. I had no choice.
And that's a good question. And honestly, I'm curious too, because yeah, I mean, you even admitted yourself that you would snap, or you would be grumpy, or you would talk to people a way that you would regret and that you felt you shouldn't have spoken to them that kind of way. But then you say that people should have come to you and spoke to you about the issues they were seeing with the set and the play and the script and the dress and the dressing and of the girls and everything. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, sure. And so I think this is a valid question. Like, what made you think people were comfortable coming to you when you just said that you sound like a typical producer director in Hollywood who throws a fucking bitch fit every 20 seconds?
Amanda Bynes was brought up in the series and her emancipation and how you were involved in that. Can you talk to us about it a bit?
Sure. Amanda was between the ages of 16 and 17, and she wanted to get emancipated from her parents, which was a fairly common thing with successful young actors, at least at the time.
Sure.
And she wanted that for herself. So she turned to her team, which included her lawyer, her agent, her manager, her publicist, me, because she included me as part of her team, thought of me that way. We supported her.
I don't know. My heart goes out to Amanda Bynes. I don't really want to speak on her. She is really going through it. I mean, she clearly fell off the radar, resurfaced. We find out that she fell into drugs heavily, went to rehab. She's sober now, as far as I'm concerned, and as I know from her presence on social media and her follow-up videos. She's been through a lot, and I'm happy that she is on to better things. You know, she's she's working towards her purpose in life, and I think that's great. I think that's beautiful. And I feel like her struggles in the past had a lot to do with her parents, a lot with Dan Schneider and fucking Hollywood. 'Cause yeah. I feel like a lot of childhood actors and actresses get exposed to drugs and deal with a lot of pedophiles in Hollywood. So, you know, they get hella fucking traumatized and turn to drugs most of the time. I'm not saying that's her story, but I mean, it's not uncommon in Hollywood, which is sad and unfortunate.
The darkest part of this series discuss child predators. Now, I want to make sure that we clear a couple of things up.
Okay.
Brian Peck was not hired by you.
No, I did not hire Brian Peck.
This was a Tolan Robbins production?
Yeah. And when Drake and I talked and he told me what had happened, I was more devastated by that than anything that ever happened to me in my career thus far. And I told him, I'm here for you. What do you need? Which Drake mentioned in the show that we watched last night. And next, I heard that he went to court when this guy was being tried, Peck. And when Drake walked in, he saw 50 people sitting on the side of the courtroom supporting Peck. A lot of them pretty famous. Of course, Drake was devastated that that happened. And even more disappointing, 41 of those people wrote letters for Peck, character letters, praising him for who he was and asking for leniency. And they knew that he was guilty. They knew he had confessed to some degree, and they still did this. That's baffling that adults would do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people know this, but Drake's mom, a lovely woman who I stay in contact with this day, she came to me at the time and she said, Dan, I'm not good with words like you are. And would you help me with my speech for the judge? And I said, of course. And I did. And he ended up going to prison and serving his time. And yeah, that was probably the darkest part of my career.
What? What? Wait, what? Okay, hold on. I'm not, like, okay. First of all, ew. Second of all, my eye won't stop crying. I just think it's so cringy. I'm, like, literally tearing up right now. But, is he talking about Drake and Josh, like Drake from Josh? Isn't that Drake Bell, the pedo? The Drake Bell, the redophile? Because if so, like, this is not sentimental to me at all. That woman raised a redophile. I don't want to ever blame the parents because at, obviously a certain point in your child's life, they're an adult and they're responsible for their own actions. But, like, ew. And you're crying about the fact that she needed assistance with the speech? Like, buddy, what? Of all things to cry about in the middle of the fucking interview, you chose that. It couldn't have been a little bit more sad or something sentimental. Like, that's just kind of weird. That's a little fucking weird. Okay, that was just some fucking psycho ass shit. Like, the transition from being hoarse and crying to talking normally wasn't even fucking normal. It wasn't even it wasn't natural. It was just like, you're fucking a fake ass bastard. Yeah, anyway, so Dan Schneider is awful. This is pretty much the gist of this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. This is pretty much the end of the video, but if you want to stick around for a smoke, feel free. I'm gonna puff and then peace out. And I hope you can hear me. I'm still getting the hang of clipping shit. So, cheers to you. Man, cheers to change. Cheers to a better week, a better month, a better day, a better year. Don't worry, it's gonna get better. All right, peace.